my fellow Americans, it is with overwhelming enthusiasm that I am declaring that anyone who protests or interferes with ICE and their operations is officially gay, big time. With that being said, go ahead and call your dads, tell them about your alternative lifestyle as a gay communist, and then who knows, maybe eat a lollipop. I don't know what flamers do with their time, but I'd imagine it's something along those lines. Maybe decorate a bathroom, who knows? In either case, this is who you are now, and everybody knows it. Cat's out of the bag. Cat is out of the bag.
The limiting principle, don't drive your car at ICE agents. Pull your car off to the side of the road and do what you're told. And maybe you will get a chance to grow old. And maybe next time wear a helmet. Death before retardation.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Limiting Principle podcast. I'm Patrick. My co-host, Angel, is finishing inputting grades for his students right now. I was going to take the night off because I don't know if you could hear. It sounds a little bit better right now, but I've been sick since January 1st, and I recorded an hour-long episode last night, and it made me completely lose my voice. Angel, being the kind individual he is, recommended that I go get a throat lozenge, which I actually found a spare one in my mom's old bedroom. So it is a little bit easier to talk right now. So this is what happens when you're not an adult, right? An adult thinks, wait, you're sick, you should have like a cough drop and it'll lubricate your throat and you can talk better. This is why Angel is here, basically to wipe my ass live on camera. I was
helping children all over the world.
Yeah, no, this is great. Your kind, caring nature that you extend to your students, you're extending to me, which is great. Feel free to criticize me, by the way.
No, I attribute it to having a very amazing Hispanic mother who stayed home, didn't have to go to work, and basically spent her time on making sure that I was okay and learned the right things to do. Jesus Christ, I have 29 students and 24 missing assignments. Jeez.
24?
Welcome
Holy
to
shit.
education.
But I was going to take the night off and just relax, maybe play some Xbox, which I might do later. I'm going to try to make this a little bit shorter of an episode than usual. I was going to take the night off to rest my voice, but then the ICE agent shot that lady in Minneapolis. And I thought, what better way of hopefully increasing our viewership than gaming the algorithm by creating a title that says ICE shooting in Minneapolis. And
I feel so icky just knowing that. Oh my God.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, you got to game this shit. You got to game this shit. Otherwise we'll just be, actually, speaking of, I was going to say, otherwise we're just going to be talking to no one, but shout out to the new GM. He is our most consistent listener. He comments on every video. New GM, if you're listening, I appreciate you.
Oh, shout out to new GM.
Yeah. So tonight we're going to be talking about the shooting that happened in Minneapolis, and it kind of seems like, like I could see that the officer, the ICE agent, thought that his life was in danger in that moment because the car basically did bump into him, and if he didn't get out of the way, he could have been run over. Obviously, I wish he hadn't shot her, but I could see why he thought his life was in danger. It turns out, supposedly, that this isn't just like a ordinary citizen. This is an activist, most likely a paid activist, who was leading the protest. At least that's what the reporting is saying. Every time this kind of incident happens, half the stuff that comes out in the first 24 hours ends up being incorrect or half incorrect. So we'll see.
Yeah, as someone who stayed awake for 48 hours when the Trump shooting happened.
Oh yeah.
Around 48 hours, just checking videos and things like that and trying to stay on the up and up. And I mean, it's so impossible to follow, especially if you're just, tuning in, like you have a 9 to 5 and you're just like, what's going on? Oh my goodness, what's this? And you maybe see a video or two. And what I usually do,
Yeah.
I mean, before talking to you, but I would just wait a few days because you
Me
just
too.
kind of have to wait. But
You will. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't want to, like, everyone's speculating and already sort of like pushing the narratives out there.
I mean,
And
I
I'm
don't
not
wanna-
really interested in pushing the narratives so much as I am studying the insanity of what the left has done since the shooting has occurred. That's what I'm really
So-
interested in.
I mean, I think we should start at the video itself.
I already have that loaded up right here. Share this tab instead. So it's great because you can tackle the left, insult and critique the left. And at the same time, you can watch the video because all of these leftists are all posting about the video. And then, of course, putting their own spin on it. This is from Ilhan Omar. She's responding to Homeland Security. Today, ICE officers in Minneapolis were conducting targeted operations when rioters began blocking ICE officers. And one of these violent rioters weaponized her vehicle, attempting to run over our law enforcement officers in an attempt to kill them. An act of domestic terrorism. That's a bold charge. And then, of course, she's using this video. You're lying. There was no attempt to run the officer over, and no ICE agents appear to be hurt. Get out of our city. So this is one of the initial videos that was released from this angle.
All right, pull it up. Okay, so 1, 2, guy goes to the door.
No! Shame! Shame! Oh my fucking god! What the fuck?
Ooh.
All right, stop it.
Fuck! You just fuck.
So go ahead.
So just before anything else, it's really interesting. It's always like the screaming lady recording these videos usually.
Always.
Look, that's not a good angle.
No, it's not. And of course, it's crazy, dude. So I always say
the first thing,
go ahead.
if you're going to make an 100% absolute judgment from that,
I know,
you're playing games.
but it's
You
like,
have-
exactly.
You need to look at the 100. You need to look at it from 180 degrees. That's the view you need. If you don't have that, yeah, you can't.
And honestly, that's one of the best things about everyone having cell phones. Imagine if we didn't have the independent journalists and people with cell phones when the Rittenhouse thing happened. They would have successfully lynched Kyle Rittenhouse, and he'd be sitting in a jail cell right now. You know
What's the an effect of that is a complete erosion of our Fourth Amendment rights. But that's neither here nor there right now. Do you have an angle from another perspective?
Yeah, well, I wanna. Well, okay, so
Let's play it again. Play it again.
I will. What I'm saying. So what I want to say here is that Ilhan Omar is using this angle, right, to craft a narrative that it was a completely unjustified shooting. We're going to see other angles, right? Everyone on the left is using this angle. Everyone on the right are using the other angles. And I always say that we basically live in parallel dimensions, the left and the right. Two different alternate realities have been created because of this happening and because of the leftists coming out and saying, like, this is just an unjustified murder, basically. The left is going to live in that universe now forever. The right will live in the other universe forever. The big difference is that the right is also aware of what the left is saying, whereas the left are just completely in like a hermetically sealed bubble. So it's crazy. This is like a micro version of the macro.
Remember, it's because they're the resistance. They are automatically the good guys. This is a good and evil story to them, and they're obviously the protagonists.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, yes, exactly. And this is a micro example of how we keep getting pushed into these two parallel universes where the right at least is aware of what the left just says and they just disagree with them, whereas the left discounts everything the right says and doesn't even listen to it. So we're seeing a parallel universe being created right here by the right and the left, crafting two different narratives based around what's happened. It's insane.
Well, I mean, if you
Okay. Okay, so she definitely purposely pulled out in order to block them from keep going. So right away, she's putting herself in a tricky situation. So like
this isn't okay. This is not okay. This is not a random normal citizen's behavior.
Exactly.
This is not like this is something an activist would do.
Yep. she's out there, like you said, fighting the evil, fighting, what do the Democrats keep saying? That ICE agents are basically the
Gestapo or
Gestapo. They're
something.
Nazis. Yeah. So what do? You punch Nazis, you stop Nazis, and you kill Nazis. So that's what this lady's doing.
No! No! Shame! Shame! Oh my fucking god! What the fuck? What the fuck?
No, there's something that strikes me weird about this. There's a lot to be said about this, honestly.
Go ahead.
Are you someone that used your effort to get away, or are you someone who used this as an excuse to discharge your weapon? I said, it's hard to tell because of the angle, but it looked like he shuffled a little bit. Yeah, he had to move out of the way, but like, it's not like he has to dive 4 feet to get out of the way of the car, you know?
No, but if he hadn't had moved, say if he had slipped on the ice and fell, she would have just ran over his body. And then there'd be a completely different story. Like I'm saying, like so much has to go right and so much has to go wrong in this situation.
Right. Okay. Now, if he would have shot her, then wouldn't the car continue going and we still got run over?
Well, I mean, at that point, that's the thing is that if he would have gotten run over, he most likely wouldn't have shot her. So his moving out of the way allowed him to shoot her.
Okay. So once he moved out of the way, he shot her?
Yeah.
Which goes back to my question. Did you use that as an excuse to shoot?
I doubt that the guy I don't think he was thinking that in the moment. I think that he feared for his life and just as a pure, like unconscious reaction, drew his weapon and shot her because in his mind, he thought that she was trying to kill him, especially as he's being filmed. And like, I don't think he was thinking about all of that. I think it was just an initial gut reaction.
Okay, I'm not taking into consideration what he's probably going through in that situation. I discounted the fact that it's ice. I'm from Miami. I don't understand what a snow and ice is. I don't know what those things are. I don't understand that. Right, you can slip and fall very easily. But we need another angle because I feel like regardless of what I say, I'm saying things without like my eyes need more.
Which is, of course, and see, that's because you're a responsible person and not a complete piece of shit of a human being, unlike Ilhan Omar and a bunch of other leftists that we'll see in a couple minutes.
Okay, so there's something we have to understand. I feel the pull. Like, part of me is getting very angry because part of me is like, bro, homeboy had to like move 2 inches and he was good. This is annoying.
Well, I mean, I think he's gonna get off because, like I said, I mean, like, okay, he had to move 2 inches, but if he hadn't moved 2 inches, he would have slipped and she would have ran him over, which would have been manslaughter, murder with a car. But he moved out of the way, still felt as if there was a threat, and he shot her. I mean, I wish he hadn't have shot her. Now, Colin Wright, I think it was Colin Wright, somebody posted that they think that the tires slipped. And these people are saying that they actually think that she did try to actively run him over, but the tires slipped and then she like went the other direction. I don't know. You know how these things go. There's going to be endless. Hold on,
let's pull up more angles then.
I'm going to, but I want to show Ilhan Omar here. So, of course, and then she says this: ICE's actions today were unconscionable and reprehensible. I am beyond outraged that their reckless, callous actions led to the killing of a legal observer in Minneapolis.
Well, hold on. Let me read the rest. My heart breaks for the victim's family who will have to forever live with the pain caused by the Trump administration's reckless and deadly actions. This administration has shown yet again that it does not care about the safety of Minnesotans, yet instead of protecting our communities, they are unleashing violence, terrorizing neighborhoods, and now killing a civilian. For weeks, ICE's so-called Operation Metro Surge has spread fear, chaos, and violence across our state. This is not law enforcement. It is state violence. It is simply indefensible, and ICE must be held accountable. That must include a full, comprehensive investigation and legal action against the agency.
Of course. So, right, it's not, I mean, because they view ICE as completely illegitimate. They literally think that they're Nazis. So, of course, now they're going to use this in order as a political, cudgel in order to destroy ICE. That's what.
I'm sorry for laughing, but only on X is the first reply.
I know, it's amazing. I know. The
retard finder.
yeah, retard finder down there. Almost like he might ratio her. He says, "What WTF is a legal observer, and why do they try to run over law enforcement?" Oh man, here's another angle that Nick Sorter posted. New angle from the ICE involved shooting in Minneapolis. Let's take a look.
Because clearly, okay, let's clearly see this.
I have to watch that again. Hold on.
Oh, okay. Can you slow it down?
Sure.
Actually, could you slow it down? Is that possible?
So this is right when she does it. So he's standing in front of her, and then she makes contact with him. Now, if he didn't make that split second decision,
hold on. So he's moving backwards.
Not really. I mean, well, the car pushes him backwards a little bit.
Right. So that's what I mean. So he's being moved backwards at an angle.
Yeah. So watch. Look, you can
like
see right
nudged
there.
over to the side.
Yeah. So look at that silver or tan sedan right there. You could see him right to the right there. So she comes forward and makes contact with him. Now, if he slips,
okay, so that's contact right there.
Yeah. Now, if he slips, if he does not move to the right, I don't know if he would die, but he would definitely be run over and his body would be mangled. However, he manages to sidestep it at the last second. I actually saw a video. Someone with a cell phone took it, and she was slumped over in the car, riddled with bullets. It's
that's not
dark.
That's not.
I don't want to show that.
We're not going to show that.
No, at that point, it's like. I mean, I would assume the showing a dead person would get the video.
Between
flagged.
X, Instagram, World Star, you can find whatever you need. I don't want to encourage any more people. Plus, all those things are commonly known. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's just
no. I was just going to say, like, so many people were just like thrown in their face a Charlie Kirk assassination. Like my students got really traumatized because they just saw it and there was no warning. There was no trigger warning. It was just and done.
It was horrible. I was sitting right here. I was sitting on my love seat. And when did he get killed? In September? He got shot in September.
September
and
10? I don't know.
I heard that Charlie Kirk got shot. And I was like, and at first you're like, wait, it's like you almost can't comprehend it. And then I was just scrolling on X, and the video where he got shot, where all that blood started pouring out of his neck, just came right up in my feed. It just assaulted me. Like, it wasn't like, hey, click on this. And there was no warning on it. There was no like sensitive content or whatever on it. It was horrible. But
the first one I saw was the gray picture, like the picture of him slumped over, sort of like with like shaded or grayed out, and I was like, is this a fucking meme? Is this real life? Are you serious?
Yeah.
And I just lost it.
Yeah, but
it was like school just got dismissed, and I'm like, let me check Twitter. What's going on? The fuck are you?
And that's
serious.
And that's the thing. I mean, like, what do you expect if one side of the country keeps calling the other side fascist? Like, when they say Hitler, they just mean Satan. To them, Hitler is the great Satan. So if you're going to call somebody, Charlie Kirk wasn't completely milquetoast, but he wasn't exactly a radical. He was getting a little spicier as he went on, but he wasn't a radical. So if you're going to call Charlie Kirk a fascist, if you're going to call anyone that doesn't believe trans women are women fascist, like, what do you expect? What do you do to Hitler? You shoot him in the neck. Like, they always say that the right is committing stochastic terrorism, and that's just pure projection. They're basically like, and we'll see later on when Waltz asked people to go protest, like, those are like open communications to their radicals that we need to make a statement. We need to burn some shit down.
Okay, but hold on. Anything Tim Walz says is completely irrelevant because he is begging for any attention not on him.
Yeah.
Begging for it. Like what? I saw South Park's Leering Center. I was like, geez.
Well, that wasn't even South Park. That was actually somebody who made a parody of it in the style of South Park. Yeah, South Park is completely gone down the shitter. The newest season, it was all about Trump. And it was like, it wasn't even funny critiques of Trump. It was just like, it was as if the writing staff of the New York Times or the Atlantic decided to make some episodes about Trump. It was horrible. So then we also have this from, he's a very, I don't know if I'd say prominent, but he's a very annoying kind of like shit lib progressive propagandist. And the mayor of Minneapolis, he said, Jacob Frey says, they are already trying to spin this as an action of self-defense. Having seen the video myself, I want to tell everybody directly, that is bullshit. I just can't stand these people. This is like it. I mean, obviously they haven't learned anything, and they probably don't even see their.
Yes, trust me instead of your lying eyes.
Yeah, and they probably don't even see the role they played in it, and they don't care. But like the riots that happened in Kenosha that Rittenhouse responded to, those are largely driven by the White House openly saying that I think it was Jacob Blake, there was an attempted murder on his life by cops. And then of course later came out that the dude had a knife. He was driving, I believe his girlfriend's or his fiance's car or something like that. And there were children in there. So it was a completely justified shooting. And yet the Democrats are talking about white supremacy and about how cops are murdering black people. So all they do is stoke fear and hatred and like basically encourage people to go out on the streets and get violent, but they still have the plausible deniability to say, oh, well, we didn't tell you to burn that business down. It's so frustrating. I hate them so much.
It's so stupid.
I just hate them so much. And then of course, Tim Walz comes in hot. I've seen the video. Don't believe this propaganda machine. The state will ensure there is a full, fair, and expeditious investigation to ensure accountability and justice. This is, I
find it funny how these people just can't post the video and be like, look for yourselves to see this is BS. They must say, I've seen it. Trust me. Like, oh my God. Like, how can we trust you? You are responsible for hundreds of billions of dollars, probably, of just fraud.
And plus he presents himself as like a kind of like mainstream Democrat, but he is a extreme communist. The man once said that socialism is not a dirty word. Socialism to him just means helping your neighbor. The dude spent a bunch of time in China and used to hand out Mao's little red book as gifts. And yet this is,
what the fuck did I say? Oh my gosh. Did I say billions? I said I meant hundreds of millions, but it's probably in the billions. Like that's the thing. Like what we find out is just always the tip of the iceberg of the like actual fraud and shenanigans and just garbage.
By the way, look at the freeze frame on Jacob's face here. I feel like he's been eating too much Somalian food and it's just like really getting to his stomach. Let's listen to what he has to say. But by the way, this is a very tough man, which we'll show after this.
And I have a message for ICE. To ICE, get the fuck out of Minneapolis. We do not want you here. Your stated reason for being in this city is to create some...
And you can see this guy over here on the right. He's got a little knit hat. We heart our Somalian neighbors. Classic. We got to get that guy standing up there.
Kind of safety, and you are doing exactly the opposite. People are being hurt. Families are being ripped apart. Long-term Minneapolis residents that have contributed so greatly to our city, to our culture, to our economy are being terrorized. And now
yeah, you mean like what, 80% of them being on welfare if they have families, and then a bunch of other fraud that's been that they are quite literally a drag on their community and on the country. Like that's what I'm saying. Like you need and this whole idea of America being a melting pot and it being the nation where immigrants come here. It's like, yeah, but like we need the immigrants to contribute to keep it great. If you bring over massive amounts of immigrants who aren't going to assimilate and then be a drag on the economy by taking advantage of our welfare programs, you think that's going to create a beneficial future for people? It's ridiculous.
And the thing is, like, let's be honest, there's not a freaking thing we can do about our debt. Eventually, we're going to get to the point where we just can't pay for stuff. Sorry, the money's not there, but print more. Oh no, it's worthless. Oh, it's worth monopoly money. Like that is probably more likely than not at the rate that we're going.
Yep. And it's also just very like psychotic of them to do this, right? Like this honestly, I know this ended in a woman's death, but this is very tame in terms of what this woman was doing. I mean, there have been like active attacks on ICE agents of like cars ramming into their vehicles. There's been targeted attacks, and the Democrats just keep saying, if you don't want it to happen, leave. So it's like, hey guys, don't do your job. If you do your job, we'll kill you. It's complete Darvo. It's complete Darvo. Like the entire Democratic platform reminds me of like a crazy ex who's nuts and keeps doing horrible things to you, and then telling you that it's your fault. That's what they remind me of.
Well, I mean, okay, so it's like peaceably protesting doesn't mean blocking traffic. It doesn't mean like being an impediment, like just laying out in the street like those freaking just stop oil people. Like,
yeah,
like you're. It's but it's inherently nonviolent. No, what, you're acting in such a psychotic way that you just. Gosh,
what about if someone's
what
white?
it is? Here's what it is. It's basically like, okay, what you have to do in order to get your point is to bait someone to punch you,
Yes.
someone to hit you. And
Wait,
yes,
really quick, just let me just really
Mhm.
quick. Let me just add
Yeah.
off that. There are video trainings. There's this woman named Lisa Thithian, and she holds trainings with communists and she specifically tells them, go up to the cops, do everything you can to get them to commit violence on you, but don't ever throw the first punch. So they're specifically looking for those optics. These people are the protesters and the paid protesters. They're actually trained to do exactly what you're saying.
Oh no, I know. Which at the same time, that just means the federal officers need to be better trained.
Yeah. And it's just annoying. The Democrats are the ones, and a bunch of the neocons and people in the Republican Party, they're the ones that created this problem. And their solution is to just offer mass amnesty to everyone. Anyways, Jacob Frey, super tough guy, right? Get the fuck out of my city. Super tough guy. Here he is wearing a mask, sobbing and kneeling in front of George Floyd's casket.
He's like, okay, did it twice. Got the
I just-
shot. Yeah, no, like he wanted that photo up.
Yeah, right. I know. Like, I feel like somebody gave him a signal and then he eventually got up. It's just, I remember when that Somalian guy was, I can't remember, Omar something. He was running for mayor in Minneapolis. And a lot of people on the right were like, we have to like amplify Jacob Frey. And I was like, I don't think you know who this guy is. This guy is an ardent anti-American, this guy's an ardent anti-American gay race communist. Like, I don't care that he's white. He's just as bad, if not worse, because he is like he is a believer in like the shit lib gay race communist
the self-hating whites are the worst.
Yeah,
The worst.
the absolute worst. And then Lieutenant Governor Penny Flanagan, who is a complete lunatic. This is the woman, I'm sure you've seen the photo. She is showing her shirt, and on the shirt it says protect trans kids, and then there's a knife on the shirt.
Oh, so the knife lady is saying for people to stay, for Minnesotans to stay peaceful. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, which honestly, this is an okay tweet. Okay, so right at the beginning, she's doing her spin. The surge of federal agents to Minnesota was never about public safety. It was about stoking fear and chaos, right? So it's completely their fault. Everything is their fault.
Mhm.
But she does encourage Minnesotans to stay peaceful. But it's just like, they just constantly counter signal each other and then say these they almost say these statements that gives them a certain amount of plausible deniability, while at the same time they're stoking like tension and fear and hatred. That's what it seems like to me. Now, this at first, So Mike Cernovich and others are, stating that like there's no room for nuance here. This is just like another example of an extreme leftist, and I didn't know anything about this woman. I just thought maybe, I just thought maybe this is like a woman that was in the middle of the street and then she freaked out and the cop shot her. But apparently this woman, she was the main car leading the protest. She was very successful in what she was set to do. Let's listen to this woman talk.
Is my understanding. They clearly wanted her out of there because she was the main car leading the protest, is my understanding. I talked to another guy who was driving behind her, but she was very successful in blocking traffic. She was doing what she was set out to do, and so they wanted to get her the hell out of there. Yeah.
So it looked like she was impeding ICE vehicles.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay.
That was her goal.
So, right, this wasn't just like some woman who spun on the road, like you said at the beginning, right?
Of course not. It's self-evident. It's not normal human behavior. Normal humans go to work, go home, take care of their kids, take them to soccer practice.
Yeah.
That's what normal humans do. Like, how can you protest for free in this economy?
Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, so many of these people are paid. I know a lot of the Antifa members they have like a fund that they all contribute in order to fund their activities. But I guarantee, and I think it's been proven that a significant portion of them are getting paid by like leftist NGOs that essentially employ them as like full-time protesters and agitators and rioters. I just put myself in the mindset of these ICE agents. There's been multiple attacks on them. Half the country are calling them Nazis. I can imagine that these guys are like their head is on a swivel at all times,
Absolutely. Look, according to this lady, she's basically saying that the woman fucked around. Like,
yep.
I'm not saying that in like a malicious way. Oh, fuck around and find out. No, she wanted to. I just think it's crazy. These are armed agents doing a job directed by the president. It seems to be lawful. You don't like that they're deporting people who aren't supposed to be here, but they're not supposed to be here. They're breaking okay, this is totally legit and fine. Okay. And she wanted to purposely block them, armed people who have the ability, who have the monopoly on violence. Like, are you like, have you watched too many superhero films thinking that like I don't know what it is? Like, do you think you're in fantasy land that your vehicle is going to stop them? Like, I don't get it at all.
Like you said, right? The left feels like there's nothing like a person that is actively participating in an evil movement that believes they have the high ground when it comes to morality. So every act that they do is an act in defiance to fascism, to the last dying gasp of white supremacy that they believe Donald Trump represents. I'm interested to see the forthcoming puff pieces of this woman, because if she's an activist, like it looks like she is, I guarantee they're going to be like, this is a woman that did activism, outreach work, worked with the homeless, cared about minority groups, marginalized groups, and an evil ICE Gestapo Nazi agent murdered her. I'm assuming that's the tact that a lot of these news organizations and propagandists online that are going to take as the information rolls out. Like, I would assume that this woman's going to become like another type of martyr, right? The left is a religious movement masquerading as a political movement. So they have their own patron saints like George Floyd. They have their own martyrs, which I guess George Floyd is also a martyr. I would assume that this would reach that level as well. So
we're seeing the images on the screen. There's that flag you were talking about. But I want to jump,
right, because like the people out there aren't protesting this one. What is James Lindsay and his followers always say?
Hey, hold on, wait, wasn't there an executive order against this?
I think he said he wanted to do it. But I mean, that's actually one of the main things I disagree with on Trump. I don't think.
Yeah, that really pissed me. I was like, wait a second, you're telling me I can't selectively burn my own property? Are you fucking kidding me? I understand, don't take a flag from someone else, but it's like, really, you can't go into. you're going to be put in jail for a year if you go to the backyard and you take a tiny U.S. flag, you set it on fire. You're fucking serious? Like, okay.
Yeah, no, it's complete, and it's like something that I don't think it's something that would ever be seriously implemented. But of course, the saying goes, the issue is never the issue. The issue is always the revolution, right? So these people, this guy, these other people aren't here, right? It's not about just protesting a single woman's death. These people hate America, scream death to America. So of course they're going to take this opportunity to make a political statement about burning the
I want to
flag.
jump in here. I want to ask you where you're at right now, and we're seeing the.
I see the flag's upside down, right?
Well,
Because the
okay,
country's
but like-
the country's in distress.
This feels like a play. Like everyone is just there with their phones out, just seeing the spectacle. Like they're performing something. This is so.
Well, it is. It's all very performative. I mean, the people that do this, like for instance, I got involved in activism, and I got involved mostly because of what's happening to kids with the trans movement. But a big part of me getting involved did have to do with trying to sort of fill a void in my life and find a sense of meaning. And that's what a lot of these people do. I mean, for these people, they're basically like they're like Christians that don't go to church, but still call themselves Christians a lot of the times, but like the leftist politics has become their religion. And like you said, it's like a play, right? Because it is cosplay. They're cosplaying revolution. They're cosplaying revolutionaries as they tweet mean tweets from the comfort of their home on their $1,000 iPhone. Let's watch this for a second.
Images on the screen. There's that flag you were talking about being burned here. What kind of things are they shouting? The crowd that's out there. I know they're obviously not.
See that patriot? Did you see that patriot? Look at that guy on the left. Look at that guy on the left. Absolute Chad and an absolute.
What kind of things are they shouting? The crowd that's out there. I know.
Trying to put out the fire with a snowball and throwing it at the guy. Shout out to whoever that is. Absolutely.
Shout out that guy.
Absolute Giga Chat.
They're obviously not happy ICE is there. They've been talking about that. What are they saying? What's the energy like where you are right now?
So that's one reason why I'm not getting too close, so I can hear all of you, because it is loud out here. It's profanities, a lot of profanities against ICE.
I want to jump in here. I want to ask you where you're at right now, and we're seeing the images on the screen. There's that flag you were talking about.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. So right, it's not it like there's like the driving impetus. The narrative is that we live in a white supremacist society, and this is just another example of that solidifying into people's minds. So it's not so much about caring about a woman; it's about using her death to further the revolution. It's very obvious that that is what they're actually doing. Oh, and then this was probably the craziest. So of course we have people wearing that stupid, what is it called? The thing that people in Palestine wear. That scarf.
What? I forgot what it's called.
I can never pronounce it. But this was posted. Shout out to Nick Sorter, who does quite a bit of work on the ground. Rioters have just smashed the doors of the federal courthouse in downtown Minneapolis while chanting "ICE out now." So they're trying to smash the doors and break into the federal courthouse. Out now! ICE 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 out now! And right, to these people, look at these poor people just trying to do their job and keep these people out. But to the people out there, they're just looking at these people and like, you're an agent of the state. You're protecting a federal courthouse where Black and brown, indigenous, and trans and queer people are prosecuted by an evil system. So like, I mean, to me, it's like a complete dehumanization of anyone. It's like all cops are bastards. All ICE are Gestapo. Is just like basically dehumanizing the individual, not seeing them as them doing their job, but looking at them as if they're like a guardian of evil. ICE out now! ICE out now! ICE out now! Nope. Smashing the glass. Think about if the right ever did the actions that the left does across the nation. Like so many things the left does can be viewed as insurrections, but because they didn't try to stop a vote, it's not considered that. Half the time it's not even considered as domestic. It's not even considered as acts of violence or terrorism. They just label them as protests.
All right. So Colin Wright says, I'll point out one thing. At the 4 to 5 second mark, the car is in drive and the woman stepped on the gas while the wheels are turned to the left because the ground is frozen. The tires have no traction and spin in place. Had there been no ice, the car very likely would have head-on struck the officer standing in front of the vehicle. So
this is I mentioned this before.
And I'm gonna mute this because it's very slowed down. You just hear more in the background. So you see reverse, stop. You see the brake light is gone.
Yeah,
it's 5 seconds, and then look at this wheel. See it spin.
Oh, wow.
So, okay, let's play it from
instantly
here.
turns it into the officer.
She's backing up, spin. And it's like the wheel locks or something. And then there's the turn. So definitely right here, she is going forward and she is going in the direction of the police officer.
Yeah.
Think about a new layer to things.
It does. Think about if we didn't have this, like the access to cell phones allows us to see these things from like 3 to 4 to 5 different angles. It's crazy.
And not just cell phones slowing things down, like the video editing software that's just built into our phones and things like that, and other software. Like, yeah, like this is we work with what we have, but I think this is pretty telling into what her intentions were.
Yeah, I would say so. And of course,
because like, okay, so if we're not giving the police officers the benefit of the doubt, I'm not giving the fucking activist who was leading this parade to give them the benefit of the doubt either, because they want to be a martyr. These people want to do whatever they can to martyr themselves. As I was scrolling, I found another video of like this guy, like this federal officer pushed him and then he grabbed the officer's weapon.
I saw that.
Grabbed it, and then the guy just got hit in the face with like a pepper ball or something. And it's like, why? What makes you think that you can grab people's weapons? Like, you're psychotically insane, and then you're gonna use that to martyr yourself? Like, no, that you cannot justify that. And this, I don't know, this level of trying to martyr yourself seems so evil.
Yeah,
because it's like you have this group of people who all want to like rile the cops up, and like they want someone to go and like, you know, be that sacrificial lamb, but they don't want to do it. They want to push other people into doing that sort of thing. I mean, like I could at least the Christian martyrdom was different. It was like, say your God doesn't exist. No.
Yeah.
Well, okay, that's totally different.
Imagine that. Imagine having that kind of conviction,
dude.
To state that you have this profound belief in an unfalsifiable concept and you're willing to die for it. Imagine like having that conviction.
It's not even that we're killing you and your whole family, and it's like, yeah, God exists. And okay, so you go to the lions, I guess, and then they're just there, and then instead of, you know, shitting yourself, I mean, I'm sure that happened too, but many of these Christians would just get on their knees and start praying, and the Romans were like, why are they acting like that? Why are they acting so weird and not like how you're supposed to act? Let me check this thing out.
Yeah, and the legit, right? I mean, what better advertisement for what many consider the truth faith than for people willing to die for it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I'm
gonna play this one more time just to see.
Yeah, go ahead.
Trying to open the door, and then right here, the wheels. Yeah, the ice was not there, and I mean the ground ice was not there. Then this would have ended up very, very differently.
Yep. And here's the thing. the majority of Democrats still think that Kyle Rittenhouse is guilty of murder. A shocking amount of them still think that he killed black people. None of them know that it was in self-defense and it was justified. None of them, maybe some of them, but most of them don't know that he killed like a pedophile and a serial abuser of women. And so that the left is going to be in their echo chamber. You know, they're not going to be doing what you're doing. They're not going to be breaking down the footage and explaining the way the tire was rotating, and it made it look like as if she was actually trying to run him over.
Well, the tire rotating would go into her intent.
Yeah.
I mean, you can say she was panicking, but the angle of the tire is very weird. Like if you're panicking and trying to get away, you'd be jerking the wheel as much as possible to the right before, I don't know, flooring it, I guess. But then they're going to say, oh, well, you can't get mad at her for freaking out and panicking and then blah, blah, blah. But while that is true, well, that may be true. These are the same people who are like, well, citizen shoots a person. Oh, well, they should have known the angle and the trajectory of everything, and they should have known, well, like they weren't directly being attacked, and they put in so many rules on the citizen who gets assaulted that it's so unfair. And then this person who, hey, by the way, a vehicle is a weapon. No, let's give them the entire benefit of the doubt. There's this poor, naive, innocent victim, and it's like you cannot hold those two standards for people. If they're in a similar situation, they deserve the same benefit of the doubt.
Well, that's assuming that people have honor, which obviously you do, but it's not about honor. That's why, like, I understand the concept that we're in this sort of like weird Cold War and that the left clearly wants to destroy half of the country. And so, like, how honorable can you be when you're fighting a dishonorable opponent, right? Like if you're dealing with someone that you know is a psychopath, and you like, they go, oh, well, it's fine. I didn't mean it. Like, are you just going to put your gun down and trust them? Or are you going to just put them down for good so they can no longer try to kill you? Like it gets to a point where you reach a level of war. And if your opponent is that dishonest, think about, like, so a lot of the Lindsay-ites and the classical liberals decry Machiavellianism, right? Like Machiavelli. But if you're dealing with like insane people that are trying to start a race war and that are targeting kids with weird trans shit, like, you need to be subversive. You need to be manipulative to destroy these people. Like, you're going to die on your knees after they shoot you in the head. And you're going to be like, well, at least I had my morals. Now, I don't think you should completely abandon your morals. But I mean, for instance, like, I once dealt with someone that openly sexually harassed someone. And so in my head, I actually decided I'm going to use Machiavellian tactics to get this person away from the person he was sexually harassing. And I did. I manipulated him. He was a person on X. I manipulated him into threatening to kill me. And that was my actual goal. I thought it would take a week. It took about 3 hours. That's Machiavellian. That's Machiavellian and underhanded. But if you got someone who's constantly sexually harassing somebody that you care about, like, I'm not just going to sit there and take it. I'm completely going to manipulate him and undermine him to effectively destroy him, you know?
Well, I mean, of course, if you're going to use dirty, underhanded tactics against me, well, then I have no choice but to honor your request and use them on you.
Yeah. Exactly. Now, you wouldn't, right? It's different, right? Like, you don't want to, if you're in a war, right? You're not going to like shoot a child to get to the guy behind her that is holding her hostage. There's obviously degrees to this. And I just feel as if the classical liberals make it this black and white issue and just demonize anyone that's like, hey, well, you know, Machiavelli had some good points and we could use these tactics against the left. It's all about how you use them. It's not this black and white issue. I want to end on Tim Walz, because besides JB Pritzker, this is my
he's looking more like Bernie Sanders every day.
He's looking really bad. He definitely has those Zempic face. He definitely used those Zempic when he ran for vice president, because all of a sudden he lost this weight. But besides JB Pritzker, this man is my most. I despise him so much, but not as much as JB Pritzker. But it's a close second.
To Minnesotans, I say this: I feel your anger. I'm angry. They want a show. We can't give it to them. We cannot. If you protest and express your First Amendment rights, please do so peacefully, as you always do.
Fiery, mostly peaceful. Oh,
Oh, please protest peacefully, as you like. I mean, just and it's funny because people
no,
constantly
they want to smell the burned rubber from the tires or something, right?
That's what his wife said. She left the windows open during the George Floyd riots so she could smell this all of their obsession with like rioting and stuff. All of their excuse seriously goes back to one quote from MLK about riots being the voice of the unheard. They take that one quote, internalize it, so everything that they do is righteous, regardless of how many black businesses get burned down. It all goes back to that one quote, I swear, which makes sense, right? Because these people rely entirely on memes, thought-terminating cliches. Black Lives Matter, trans women are women, riots are the voice of the unheard. They completely rely on memes to form their entire worldview.
We can't give them what they want. The hearts and minds of the people in this state are on our side. To Americans, I ask you this: please stand with Minneapolis.
Go fuck yourself.
Minnesotans,
just wait.
Know that our administration is going to stop at nothing to seek accountability and justice. The State Bureau of Criminal Apprehension are working on the investigation. We have activated the State Emergency Operations Center.
Really quick, I love that, right? I'm interested in justice. I'm interested in having a thorough investigation as I post on X about how it's just another example of murder. Like what? Like it's funny because like the mainstream Democrat and progressives not going to be aware of that. They're not going to be, none of these people go on X. So they post this inflammatory shit that completely contradicts what he's saying in the speech, but it doesn't matter because their entire belief system is based on contradiction about holding two thoughts in your head.
It's not even that. It's still the old he's an old guy. He doesn't understand that cell phones exist. So like these people are like, okay, so I'm going to message this. I'm going to go to this crowd and message it this way. And then I'm going to counter message over here. And then I'm going to counter message over here. And it's like, bitch, we see all of your messages. We see the game that you're playing. No one believes you.
I know that's the crazy thing about the democratization of media and of information. Like we are truly the first generation of people that can understand relatively well what's happening, why things are collapsing, why things are falling apart. Think about if we didn't have the internet or the cell phones. You could argue that if we didn't have the internet, the collapse might not be happening as quickly. But think about if we didn't have that. Like if we didn't have people that were able to use podcasts to explain what critical race theory is, queer theory is. Imagine if we didn't know why drag queens are reading books to kids. You'd just be like, wait, what is
see all these images, what's going on? Yeah. And then at this moment, the people who are like on the right would say, and you know what? If we don't re-elect a Republican, we're all gonna get like thrown into the gulag. You know what? Like part of me sort of like believes that, but it's like well,
the thing is that the right is rising now, right? There's a new right and they're gaining influence. These ideas are spreading. Young white men are becoming more racially conscious and they're very, very angry. So I do like
the polarization of the United States.
So I do believe that, I mean, obviously we are in a conflict. It's cold mostly, but there are like random pockets of violence. Trump trying to get assassinated twice, Charlie Kirk being murdered, other politicians being murdered by deranged people for ideological reasons who happen to also be insane. But it's going to head to a clash. Like the country is so bifurcated, so split in two that the two can one has to win.
Is it gonna head into like a lot of people think like, oh, it's gonna be like a civil war, there's gonna be a clash? No. I don't think so. The thing is, I don't know anything about the Troubles, but wasn't that a period of a long time of just like very sort of low level attacks and
Yes.
attacks and attacks and
And
attacks?
that sort of feels like it's like a
Right, but
disconnected.
that's the thing. Like, I don't think that sort of like went into like a clash of an epic battle or something. Honestly, I'm just pleading ignorance, but I think something else to consider, like for most people, is to look up the Troubles, because that would probably offer a more of a modern take of what can happen in that sort of situation.
Yeah.
Because we are most definitely in civil conflict.
Yes.
I don't want to.
They openly admit in their meetings, like elite people. I'm both the left. It's funny because like I don't even like talking. I sometimes I don't even use the left or right paradigm, because I think like the shot callers who are doing this, like behind closed doors, they have their weird meetings at Davos, the United Nations, these technocratic transhumanists. I don't really think that they're left or right. I think that they're just interested in power and basically conquering the world. And I think they're willing to use whichever side in order to do that. You know, so I try not to think of it as a left and right.
Yeah, and more in general, just from a 30,000-foot view, both domestically and foreign policy speaking, like there's a reshuffling of the rules, the reshuffling of alliances, there's a giant reshuffling of everything. Just think about like the current cadre of politicians that we've had, you know, like people like Nancy Pelosi, like these people who are in their 70s and 80s, they're on their way out. They're basically the people who've been running the country for a long time, and now they're leaving. And so that it's sort of like the boomers are finally exiting the stage, and then you're having Gen X, millennials, and then who comes after millennials? Gen Z,
and
then you have Gen Z starting to come in and taking more of a share of the representation. And this is why you're seeing a breakdown of moderation in the United States, because the one thing you can say about the old boomers is, yeah, they're pretty moderate.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. And especially as the newer generations don't care about the sort of consensus that was formed in the country post World War II. They don't care about those sacred cows.
It's not even that. It's screw your rules, screw your decorum.
Yeah.
It's what I said before. It's like, I'd rather countries be honest with each other than put off this whole BS of like, oh yeah, we're friends and or we kind of like each other. It's like, no, like just be honest.
Yeah.
And shifting over from unipolarity to multipolarity, like spheres of influence, like this is just, we're reverting back to what used to be true before the World War II order. And, you know, I guess people are freaking out or anything like that, but I don't know.
And plus,
seeing the amazing Venezuela operation, like I said, whatever opinion you have, damn, our military is scary.
Yeah. And plus, I mean, before, you know, the country's always been arguing, but before there was one method of distributing information through the mainstream media, and then the right gave up, got pushed out. They had to form their own avenues of distributing information. And now online, I mean, the most popular influencers and podcasters are Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, who a lot of people think are crazy. So you have all these young people with all of these different ideas. And I mean, the mainstream Democrats, mainstream Republicans don't even know half the time what these people are talking about, because they exist in a completely different media sphere than they do. I mean, like when I tell mainstream people about the stuff that I witness and that I digest online, it just sounds crazy to them. It sounds like it's from a different universe. This is always great to hear from your elected officials, you know, definitely not a Civil War type situation here
with our federal government. Well, I said this yesterday. We've never been at war with our federal government. I think in this case that the National Guard is their main mission. They have a dual mission. Well, I said this yesterday.
That's just crazy. He's at war with the federal government.
I mean, okay, that's a strategy, I guess.
Yeah. And it's just, I mean, imagine if Trump said that. We're at war with the state of Minnesota. How do you think the press would react to that? But again, it's liberating tolerance. They are the revolutionaries. They are the ones who care for the marginalized groups. So anything that they do is justified in the face of fascism. The double standard is it's driving a bunch of people on the right insane. That's why a lot of them are getting radicalized. I mean, they were completely pushed. Yeah, they were completely pushed out of mainstream life. And then the Republicans would offer up some sort of defense. But basically, like, what do they say? Like, Republicans are progressives driving the speed limit. Just slowly but surely, the left would just get win after win after win because they controlled all the institutions and they changed the culture. So they were able to get it across.
Look, and I understand the uniqueness of this moment in this week, following this week, seeing what's happening in the backdrop of a show hearing in DC. My job is to govern, and my job is to see what the facts are.
Yeah.
This happened a couple of hours ago, and we're already pitting American against American.
Is he just describing what he's doing?
Are you talking about your Twitter or your X post?
Right. And talking about being at war with the federal government. Like, we're already pitting on one.
Remember, the people who watch this on television are not the same people who go on Twitter. So the old people are like, yes, I can do the successful counter message because people don't have multiple devices.
Yeah, and plus the left has been largely complete. Like, the only like people that are on the left that regularly use Twitter are like the insane leftist influencers and activists. Like, I don't think many normie people are on X. I don't think many normie Democrats are actively using X. That's why I'm always saying that it's two different universes. Like, I always try to tell a progressive, if you want to understand what's happening, you have to be on X, because then you can understand why the right is saying what they're saying and doing what they're doing. You might still disagree with it, but it won't seem so foreign to you. It won't seem as if what they're doing is insane. Like, they're only getting half of the story, and they just think they're completely justified in their actions.
Well, that's the thing. You have to keep them away from any right-toed opinion, because the moment you have any sort of empathy or understanding, that's it. It's over.
Yep. Oh,
Which is funny, because they're the ones who are supposed to have empathy and understand other people's positions and understand why people think the way they think, because diversity of experience, I guess. But no, that's not actually true.
Yep.
All of you saw a video in your eyes. We have a chaotic situation caused by the largest deployment in American history of federal agents into a community with no communication to locals. We had a chaotic situation where an individual is in their car, shot and killed. And so, look, I want to be very...
Oh, yeah, they're just idling their car, relaxing on the street, on the side of the road.
This about me.
Yeah.
He will make this about politics. This is about public safety, and this is about normalcy. To Americans who are watching this, if you're in Portland or you're in LA or you're in Chicago or you're wherever they're coming next, stand with us.
Look at what he lists. Portland, leftist hellhole, leftist, anarchist, communist. What was it, Chap? They literally tried to set up their own like parallel city where they had free reign to enact this sort of cosplay of a communist utopia. That's Portland. Chicago, leftist hellhole filled with an extremely violent amount of gangs. And then LA.
The whole Chaz Chop thing, like, are you saying that people tried to take territory from the United States?
Yeah, it's almost like it was an act of insurrection.
They were allowed? Like, what?
Imagine if the group Patriot Front, like the sort of like white nationalist, white identitarian, imagine if they just took over city blocks, kicked out the people that live there, and then created their own little country inside the United States. Imagine if they did that while Biden was president. How do you think they would have been met by federal authorities? Do you think that they would have been placated with?
I mean, Biden would have been like, all right, it's F-16 time. Let's go.
Yep. And that's the thing is that, yeah, right. Drone time too. Drone time. That's why I always laugh when people talk about, like, you have some right wingers that are like, yeah, I'm going to get on the streets and have a civil war. I'm like, bro, you're going to get murked by a drone. You need to get yourself a tactical EMP to disengage that drone.
Yeah, it's like, haven't you seen the past 4 years of Ukraine? That's a message.
Yes. Here we go.
And with us against this. This was so preventable, so unnecessary. And
Right? You should not have been here. The fact that the woman was leading a protest, agitating, blocked traffic, and then drove a car at a cop, that it's complete Darvo. That's actually his fault, and by extension, Donald Trump's fault. If you don't want to die, then don't come to the state of Minnesota. That's what he's saying here.
Wow.
But, of course, the left, of course, they won't see it that way.
And I don't know. I hope. Maybe we're at their McCarthy moment. Do you have no decency? Do you have no decency? We have someone dead.
And then the communist references Joseph McCarthy, who was trying to weed out communists and was kicked out of polite society. That's just poetry.
Man, he did
in
nothing
their
wrong.
car
Well, yeah, no, he did not go nearly far enough.
for no reason whatsoever. And I don't want to be right.
Really quick, I really do love that for the sign language person, they chose like a bald-headed, most likely queer person. That's just, cherry on top of the sundae there.
About this, but I said if they do this, they're going to create a chaotic situation where someone innocent's going to get killed, and they did it. And now we hear more political rhetoric. Enough.
It's just
Innocent, yeah, leading a protest and purposely blocking cars. And I think the lady who said that was her ally.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who that lady was, but I'm assuming because she was in the crowd with them. I guess she could have been a counter protester. I'm not sure. But think about what he's saying. Like, hold on, I want to reverse what he said here. Hold on, I really need to soak this in.
Reason whatsoever. And I don't want to be right about this, but I said if they do this, they're going to create a chaotic situation where someone innocent's going to get killed, and they did it. And now we hear more political rhetoric. Enough.
It's just pure projection, right?
Enough.
It's just he's accusing them of doing what he's doing, and of course, the right is spewing political rhetoric. But what is Trump says a lot of outrageous things. A lot of people on the right say outrageous things. But what is the overall guiding impetus for these actions? There are too many illegal immigrants. They're taking people's jobs, living off of welfare, making society worse, unfortunately, and they should get the fuck out. It's a very level-headed, simple thing that Hillary Clinton used to say in the 90s. So apparently Hillary Clinton in the 90s in her power suits was also a fascist.
Man, are you saying that another reason why the 90s were peak?
Oh, the 90s. I mean, there was the rot and decay and the crazy people were spreading through the institutions. But I mean, come on, man. We had Face Off. We had Con Air. We had Broken Arrow. We had The Rock. Just peak. Apparently, when I think of the 90s, because I did not like the music, because I'm not a fan of grunge music, I just think of Hollywood blockbuster action films. But we didn't know about any of this, right? We didn't have cell phones. We could just disappear all day and our parents wouldn't know where we were, living in complete sheltered ignorance. We were all calling each other fags and retarded. It was great.
Yeah.
It was great.
So here's really what's going on. This event is going to be used by the left so they can justify more force and more agitation and more blocking and more disruption of ICE agents. The right is going to use this so that the federal ICE agents and other federal officers are allowed to use more force to detain people who are doing things like this. So here's the problem. Regardless of what we decide, whichever way we decide this, was this a good shoot? Was this a bad shoot? It doesn't matter because it will still lead to more violence. That's the thing. We have to recognize the direction that we are going. Everything is continuing to escalate. Nothing has, this is like what happened in the war in Ukraine. Every action taken escalated the war even further. Or are we going to use cluster munitions? Are we going to use HIMARS? Are we going to give them tanks? Are we going to give them F-16s? Or F-15s, whatever. Like, every action taken in that war was an escalatory action. And we are where we are now. Now, what's happening here with all of this entire debacle with the ICE agents and things like that, everything has led to greater increases of violence and conflict. And it's only leading to one place. And I don't know how we stop it. There is, as it is, the current equation, there is no stopping it, because whomever is correct, and both sides will think they're correct, the solution is be more brutal to the other side.
Yep. Yeah. And I mean, that's honestly the only place it can go, right? I mean, at this point, you have, what do you keep calling it? Like a multipolar approach?
What? Oh, multipolar world.
Yeah. And I mean, and like I said, what do you do when one side of the country thinks the right thinks that there's a lot of evil leftists, but the majority of the right thinks that the people on the left are almost in a way victims of like brainwashing, right? They're just sort of ignorant. They don't understand what's happening really. So they've been tricked into supporting what they do. But the left mostly thinks that the right is purposely racist. A lot of them are, of course, but they think they're purposely racist, which isn't a crime, by the way, and actually evil, and want to, I mean, they were accusing Mitt Romney of wanting to re-enslave black people. That's why I always laugh when I point out the hyperbolic nature of what the left says about Donald Trump. And they're like, well, Donald Trump's doing this. I'm like, they accuse Mitt Romney of doing the same thing. So where can you go other than more escalation? There's nowhere to go.
Binders of women. Oh my God.
Binders.
Mitt Romney had binders of women. Oh my gosh. Ignore the fact that he actually paid women in his companies on average, or sometimes a little more than what men got, as opposed to Bernie Sanders, who couldn't even pay his own fucking staff $15 an hour, and he wants to mandate it to the rest of the country. Like, these people are just like you said, it's all performative. Mm-hmm. Like, everything they do is performative, and it's just it's so gross. That's actually
a really good point. I love when Bernie Sanders, when his staff tried to unionize, basically, and then when Cenk Uygur's staff over at the Young Turks tried to unionize, these ardent social democrat, communist progressives, they shut that shit down real quick.
Yeah, it's like, oh, how you like it now, huh? You're the man now, bitch.
Yeah. And then I wanted to end on a completely unrelated note, but does touch on, actually, I haven't released the episode yet. I'm going to do it tonight.
Before you say that, like, we didn't even get to the thing that I mentioned to you on the chat. The United States captured a Russian flagged tanker, the Marinera, formerly the Bella 1, today, January 7th, 2026. Also, they also seized a second tanker with no state flag called the M. Sophia in the Caribbean.
Shit's getting spicy out there.
Sorry, the Russian tanker was intercepted in the North Atlantic from we didn't even get to that part, which, by the way, that shit is escalating.
The nothing ever happens bros must be in dire straits right now.
The nothing ever happens. They're down on they're in dire straits over this.
But I saw this meme and it just completely cracked me up. Maduro encased in carbonite like Han Solo from Empire Strikes Back. And then oh man.
Oh my god, that's so horrible.
That's what they should do. Like, we always say there's an online meme about, you want to put leftists into crystals, you want to banish them into crystals, but why not just banish them into carbonite? Han Solo survived it. Maduro, you could just keep him there forever and technically he'll be alive. Oh, that cracked me up. But thank you everybody for listening. I'm gonna release this soon so we can capitalize on the new cycle.
Oh
And,
gosh.
this was super fun. We will see you guys next time.
All right. See you next time.